Imagine pouring absolutely everything you have into a fight, giving it your all, only to feel like, I don't know, the rules are constantly shifting.
Or maybe even actively working against you.
Exactly. What if the very game you love just seemed rigged from the moment the whistle blew?
Yeah.
Well, if that feeling resonates with you at all, then you'll definitely want to lean in right now. Before we jump in, though, please take a sec to like this deep dive, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and share your thoughts in the comments. We really, really thrive on hearing what stands out to you.
We really do.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We've been looking into some pretty passionate reactions around a recent WNBA game, a matchup that really just laid bare some deep-seated frustrations. We're talking about the Chicago Sky here.
And specifically, Angel Reese's effort in that game.
Absolutely relentless effort. So today, our mission is kind of peel back the layers, Look at the officiating, the team stuff, the individual brilliance.
And figure out not just what happened, but why it actually matters in the bigger picture of pro sports.
Right.
What's really fascinating when you look at it all together is how this one game, its outcome, it almost becomes like a small example.
A microcosm.
Exactly, a microcosm, connecting directly to these larger, maybe systemic patterns, especially when you consider how some players seem to get treated differently by the refs.
Yeah.
It really makes you ask, how much does the story of a game, or maybe even a whole season, get shaped by what the referees do?
Or don't do.
Or don't do, yeah.
And that's exactly where we have to start, isn't it? Because the immediate feeling, the frustration that jumped out, it's just so strong.
Palpable, yeah.
This game wasn't just seen as a bad game. People were immediately calling it easily one of the worst officiated of the whole WNBA season.
Wow, that's a strong statement right there.
It is, and it gets even more specific. There's this really strong feeling out there that Angel Reese and the Sky consistently get, the worst whistle in the league.
Okay, so when you hear that, you have to wonder, how? What does that look like?
Right.
Well, the perception, it seems, isn't just about one single missed call here or there. It's about a pattern. People pointed out instances where Angel Reese was getting, hit, shoved, hacked in the paint repeatedly.
And just playing through it.
Playing super aggressively, fighting for every inch, battling contact. And the whistle just stays silent.
While the other team...
Meanwhile, the opponent seems to be getting to the free throw line much, much more easily.
And look, it's not just a feeling. The numbers, they really back this up starkly.
Okay.
In that game, the Golden State Valkyries, their opponent, they went to the line 29 times.
21, okay.
Chicago.
Just 19.
19. Wow, that's a 10-shot difference.
And 10-shot difference. And the analysis we saw was clear.
Yeah.
That kind of gap is huge in a close game.
Oh, absolutely.
And, some said it tells you everything about the officiating tonight. It's pretty damning. It really is.
Yeah.
And, this connects to that broader idea, that concept of the star whistle.
Right.
You look at Kayla Thornton for Golden State, had a great game, 29 points.
Aggressive.
Very. But she also got 10 free throw attempts.
10 attempts.
And the commentary was basically she got every call.
Yeah.
It just creates such a sharp contrast with what Reese was apparently dealing with.
Yeah.
And the ripple effects of that kind of officiating, it's not just about a point here or there.
Yeah.
Right? It messes with the whole flow of the game.
Totally. It changes strategies, player confidence.
Exactly. Who controls the pace? If you're a player and you feel like you just can't rely on getting a fair call, how does that change how you play? Are you still going to attack?
Are you as aggressive? Does it get in your head?
It has to.
Yeah.
It really has to. And connecting this to the bigger picture, like you said, it's way more than just one loss or one win. These kinds of consistent patterns, if they exist, they can seriously affect a player's reputation, how the league sees them, how fans see them.
How other players see them.
Right. And definitely the team's morale over a whole season. I mean, imagine the mental toll. You're putting in immense effort.
Doing everything right.
And you feel like the rules themselves aren't backing you up or aren't being applied evenly. That's a heavy weight to carry.
It really is. And that heavy burden, it just makes Angel Reese's actual performance in this game seem even more incredible, almost heroic, really.
Yeah.
Despite everything we just talked about, the consensus was she played her heart out. In the first half alone, people described her as being everywhere on the court. Just this whirlwind, tough defense, hitting the boards hard, switching, helping teammates.
Covering for others, just doing it all.
An all-encompassing effort.
And the context here is so crucial. You got to remember, she was doing all this without Camila Cardoso.
Right, which meant the Sky had basically no other real size inside.
No one else to really help on the boards consistently.
So an Angel who's usually dominant inside got pulled out to the perimeter sometimes on defense.
Which happens with matchups.
Right. It just left this huge hole in the paint. There was literally nobody else to consistently box out or challenge those shots down low.
So she had to shoulder this just immense responsibility.
Yeah.
Stretching her game in ways that normally would be shared.
Yeah, and it really shines a light on that challenge for a player who does all the, the dirty work.
The unglamorous stuff.
Exactly. Rebounding, setting screens, battling inside, but then isn't getting rewarded for it on offense.
Right.
We saw some observations suggesting the team's guards and wings, they really need to reward their bigs when they're grinding like that.
Find ways to get them the ball.
Yeah. Instead of what apparently happens sometimes in this game, like jacking up threes and leaving Angel out of the offense for whole quarters.
Oof, that's tough.
That kind of imbalance, it's just not sustainable, is it? Especially when your main inside presence is basically the only one keeping you in the game.
Well, it seems like maybe that frustration or just her competitiveness, it just kind of boiled over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because by the time the fourth quarter came around, the description show of Angel Reese basically said, okay, I'll do it myself.
Took it upon herself.
Took it on herself to get things moving again. Turned up the aggression, started scoring, grabbing huge rebounds, playing suffocating defense.
Wow.
She really did everything she possibly could to spark a comeback. Almost like single-handedly willing the Sky back into it late.
That's incredible determination.
It really is.
And the stats she put up, they really back that up. Her final line was, what, 17 points, 18 rebounds?
18 rebounds.
2 assists, shot 7 for 16, even hit a three-pointer.
Yeah. That's what people were calling real leadership.
It's hard to argue with that kind of production, especially given everything else going on.
Absolutely astounding. When you really think about the fatigue, both physical and mental.
Yeah.
Doing so much work, so little help, and still dealing with a bad whistle. I mean, that level of output against all that adversity, it says so much about her resilience.
Her drive?
Her drive to win, for sure.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting is seeing encouragement for her to keep taking those outside shots with confidence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just her offensive game is still evolving, even while she's battling through all these other challenges. It's pretty impressive versatility.
It really is. But, as amazing as Reese's effort was, the Sky also had their own problems. Some significant internal struggles.
Oh, yeah?
And frankly, some squandered opportunities. The analysis highlighted one number that was just called brutal. 22 turnovers in one game.
Oof. 22. That's a killer.
A killer. That was the word used.
And the impact of turnovers, I mean, especially when you're playing on the road, you just cannot overstate it.
No.
Every single turnover. It's not just that you lose the ball. It's basically a gift to the other team.
Extra possessions for them.
Extra scoring chances, more defensive pressure on you. It really makes you ask, how can a team possibly hope to overcome outside challenges, like, say, questionable officiating?
Right.
If you're also making so many unforced errors yourself, it's like fighting with one hand tied behind your back.
Exactly. And then on top of the turnovers, you look at the missed free throws. It was specifically noted that Williams went just 1 for 6 from the line.
1 for 6. Ouch.
And the point made was just so crucial. Points are precious, especially when you feel the whistle isn't going your way.
Every single one counts.
You just cannot afford to leave those points on the table. Missed free throws are just missed chances to take control, plain and simple.
It really is about seizing every single opportunity. You have to force the issue sometimes.
Yeah.
There were apparently stretches in that game where the Valkyries weren't making shots. That was the Sky's window.
Yeah, the chance to build a lead.
Exactly. Push the advantage. The advice coming out of the analysis was clear. Stay aggressive. Keep playing aggressive ball.
Get to the rim.
Get to the rim. Attack the basket. Try to draw fouls. Put constant pressure on those officials.
Make them make a call.
Right. It's not just about scoring points directly. It's about forcing the game into your favor.
Yeah.
Trying to take control of the game's narrative, especially when you feel things aren't naturally going your way.
Yeah, taking control. Which brings us to some of the coaching decisions that also got talked about.
Yeah.
One in particular really stood out as questionable, generated a lot of discussion.
What was that?
Fouling with just 22 seconds left on the clock. and there were 14 seconds on the shot clock and an 8-second difference between the two clocks.
Right. So they could have played defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chicago only needed one defensive stop to potentially get the ball back and win, and they fouled instead. The description was that the move just made no sense.
Huh. Yeah, the alternative seems so obvious there, doesn't it?
Just play D.
Just lock in, play defense for one possession, try to get that rebound, and then go try to win it yourself.
Right.
Giving up free throws, basically guaranteed points in that specific situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels like just handing the game away.
That's what was said?
It kind of suggests maybe a lack of faith in getting that one crucial stop.
Yeah. And it looks even more striking when you apparently contrast that moment with Golden State's general coaching style.
Oh, how so?
Their coach, based on the observations, kind of lets the team play free, like without them worrying too much about making mistakes.
Okay. That approach, where a coach builds that environment of trust and freedom, that can be huge.
You think?
Oh, absolutely. It builds confidence within the team. The thinking was that the Valkyries seemed to play loose and confident, partly because they knew, a missed shot or a turnover won't immediately mean a trip straight to the bench.
Right, no quick hook.
Exactly. Which it makes you wonder, what's the long-term impact of that kind of coaching philosophy on how a team develops, how resilient they are?
Especially compared to maybe a more restrictive style, or one that seems less confident in the players in crunch time.
Right. It sounds like it could create a much more fearless, growth-focused kind of team culture over time.
Interesting point. And, beyond the players and the coaches, there's one more factor. The environment itself.
The arena, the crowd.
Yeah. What we looked at touched on Golden State having maybe the best home environment, described as loud, packed, energetic.
Giving them a real advantage.
Definitely.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it just highlights again how every single element can play a part.
It all adds up.
Yeah, from the officiating to the coaching style, right down to the raw energy coming from the crowd. It can all influence a game's outcome.
A loud home crowd isn't just noise, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
It provides a real psychological edge for the home team. It could put pressure on the visiting team, maybe even subtly influence the officials. It's a whole ecosystem.
Yeah. And bringing us all back around, circling back to the main feeling running through everything we reviewed, there's just this strong, undeniable belief that Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso aren't getting the respect they deserve in the league right now.
That feeling persists.
It does. And there was a clear call for games like this one, with these kinds of officiating disparities, to be sent to the league office.
For our formal review.
Yeah, suggesting a real desire for more accountability, more fairness from the league itself.
And looking ahead for the Sky, it's acknowledged they're facing a really tough stretch of games coming up.
Especially with Cardoso still out.
Right. Still sidelined for 3 more matchups, apparently. Which means it's going to be a real test for Angel and the rest of the team.
No kidding.
Ultimately, the message seems to be about resilience now. About finding a way to win even when it feels like everything is kind of stacked against them.
The calls, missing key players.
Exactly. It's about proving themselves against all that adversity.
So, wrapping this up, what does all this mean for you, the listener? I mean, this deep dive, it really highlights these complex layers of challenge, doesn't it? For a team like the Sky, for a player like Angel Reese.
Yeah.
It's clearly not just about the X's and O's on the court. It's so deeply shaped by the calls, the coaching choices, the team dynamics.
And even the energy in the building.
Right.
And what's really striking is that consistent message, calling for accountability, calling for change.
Not just from the team fixing their own mistakes, like turnovers.
No, but also, crucially, from the league, especially around officiating standards. And that brings up a really important question for all of us who love sports, right?
Which is?
How do we, collectively, help ensure fairness and respect in pro sports, especially when it feels like some players, despite clearly having a huge impact, might be consistently undervalued or just overlooked by the system, by the rules as they're applied?
That is a powerful question, and definitely one that sticks with you. As you mull that over, maybe think about this too.
Okay.
If a player is consistently performing at an elite level, putting in that maximum effort, doing all that dirty work we talked about, and they're still not getting the calls, or maybe not the consistent recognition, what does that actually tell us about how respect is defined in professional sports?
Is it just about stats?
Right. Is it earned only through performance and numbers? Or is there maybe another layer? Something else, maybe unspoken, influencing things?
That's definitely something to think about.
We really hope this deep dive gave you a lot to chew on.
Yeah.
If you're as passionate about these issues, about the future of sports as we are, please make sure your voice is heard.
Absolutely.
Like this deep dive, subscribe to the deep dive for more insights in these kinds of conversations, and definitely leave us a comment below with your thoughts on everything we discussed.
Your engagement, your comments, they really help push these important conversations forward. Makes the whole community stronger.
It really does. Thanks for tuning in.